What's more perfect than exploring new cultures while soaking up the sun and dipping your toes in turquoise waters? Doing these things with your family and, of course, your brothers and sisters from Wisdom for the Blind. Wisdom for the Blind is pleased to announce its first Caribbean Forum to be held on board Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas. This dreamy vacation will be filled with thrilling experiences such as surfing, rock climbing, and even an electrifying 10-story plunge in the tallest slide at sea. This is not your average family getaway. There's fun and entertainment for all ages, but you'll also have learning workshops in technology and medical breakthroughs focused on the blind and vision impaired. We will sail from beautiful Miami on October 15th, 2023, visiting fabulous ports: Rotan in Honduras, Costa Maya and Cozumel in Mexico, and Royal Caribbean's private island, Coco Cay in the Bahamas. Add 2 spectacular days at sea, and while connecting with people that may experience the same challenges you do, you'll find unforgettable activities, make lasting memories, and soar to new heights. You'll learn about fascinating cultures and customs while tasting local delicacies and lounging in luxury. Wisdom for the Blind has also partnered with Operation Song, so you can have the opportunity to tell your service stories through songwriting. All of this and more starts at just $602 per person, based on double occupancy plus taxes and fees of $168. So what are you waiting for? Pack up your stuff, gather the crew, and head out on the open seas. You and your family will be talking about it for many years to come. Don't miss this great opportunity. Go to w4tb.org and find the button that says Caribbean Forum, or email us at forum@w4tb.org and book now. Space is limited. Don't forget to share the wisdom and tell a friend.
You're listening to Wisdom for the Blind Radio, W4TV, from the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the home of the Wisdom for Blinded Kids portal. Please enjoy the show, and don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend.
Welcome to Hot News with Kat and Sue. We're uncovering the latest news and interviews to help young listeners navigate and have fun with all the amazing tips, hot topics, and crazy new stuff to help blind or low vision young people so they can have more control and efficiently breeze through places like school, sports, scouts, science, hobbies, and family. We also want to thank Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and our incredible producer, Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International. So now, here's your incredibly intelligent and fun-seeking hosts, Kat and Sue.
Thank you, Keith, for the awesome introduction. And this is episode 1, Hot News with Kat and Sue. I'm Kat, and she's Sue. Sue, how's your day going?
Good. How was yours?
Mine was good. What'd you do?
Today I had a test on order of operation.
Oh, I remember doing those. So what do you like to do in your free time?
I like to read or hang out, play on my iPad. What do you like to do?
I like to do gymnastics and probably draw.
What do you like drawing?
I usually like almost like little doodles, but I also like drawing like bubble letters and then coloring them in.
That's nice. What do you do on the weekends?
I usually just relax or go over to a friend's house. What do you do on the weekends?
On Saturdays, I have a soccer game, and this Saturday is my last soccer game.
What's the silliest thing you've ever done?
Put a leash on my cat and walk her up the stairs. What have you done?
Mine's hard because I've done a lot of silly things. One time, I tried to become Ursula with makeup, and it did not go well.
What is your favorite thing to do at school?
You mean like my favorite subject?
Yes.
Probably writing, because I'm very creative, and writing is pretty much putting my creativity in words. What's your favorite school subject?
Math and science.
What's your favorite part about science?
That we learn about things about animals and nature, and we learn about animal cells and plant cells. And we also learned about reproduction.
Nice.
What do you do when you're at gymnastics?
Well, we do a lot of things, but one of my favorite things we do is bar routines, because I love to hang on the bars and get a lot of power and swings. What position do you play in soccer?
Mostly defense, sometimes midfield.
And what this podcast is going to be about is talking about people with visual impairments and people who are blind. We're going to be giving facts about that to encourage others watching this podcast to try to do some new things. Try to encourage them to go out there and do some new stuff. What's your opinion, Sue?
We can also tell them that we're all equal and we're not good at something. Just keep on trying and never give up and follow your career. So the podcast is going to come out once a month on Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon's Alexa.
So, I have OCA, which is ocular cutaneous albinism, and it affects my vision, also my skin, hair, and eyes. So, I have less vision than someone would normally have. So, when I'm in class or any of those things, I have to be upfront. Things need to be enlarged. I need magnification tools. Also, I have nystagmus, which is an eye movement that I can't control. That's my visual impairment.
Very good. Well, I live with a person who's blind, and it's important to always be consistent what to do, because sometimes in the kitchen I move things around, and when my papa walks into the kitchen, he gets kind of frustrated because he can't see where things are. So everyone in the house has to know that you can't really move stuff because you can't find anything. When we're cooking, he asked me to find stuff because he doesn't know where the stuff is. So who is our first guest?
Our first guest is Leslie Hoskins, and she is the Outreach Services and Community Engagement Manager, and that is one of the parts from Leader Dogs for the Blind.
When we come back from our break, Leslie Hopkins will be joining us. So stay in touch.
What would happen if all of a sudden one of your children became blind? Have you ever wondered how the world is perceived by individuals with limited vision? The 2019 American Community Survey, ACS, states that there were around 547,083 visually impaired children in the U.S. under the age of 18. And according to the American Printing House for the Blind's 2019 annual report, only 55,249 of these blind children, youth, and adults were in educational settings. Hi, I'm Benjamin Keeley, Executive Director for Wisdom for the Blind, a nonprofit 501c3 organization. Wisdom for the Blind, a nonprofit organization, has created Wisdom for Blinded Youth, w4by.org, a unique portal trying to sow a seed of inspiration to brighten up their world, bring a touch of joy to their daily routine, and help lift their spirits. We hope to share the challenges that children who are blind or low vision face daily. Empowering children and their families with knowledge will help them in the struggle to overcome them. Some of these challenges are limited access to information and education acquired through conventional means, difficulty with mobility and independence, making it harder to navigate unfamiliar environments and limiting their ability to explore the world, reduced social interaction and employment opportunities, making it difficult to develop social skills and relationships, inaccessibility to technology and the environment, prejudice, ignorance, and biases from society that adversely affect their self-esteem and may lead to depression. Wisdom for the Blind aims to empower visually impaired children and teens to grow into confident and independent individuals who can participate fully in all aspects of their life. This can be accomplished through the provision of assistive technologies, advocacy for their rights, education and training opportunities, as well as promoting inclusiveness and acceptance in society. We offer assistance and knowledge in one single portal to include events, tools, news, fitness, sports, travel, user groups, blind rehabilitation centers and training, information on children's activities and other support groups. All blinded kids and their caregivers are encouraged to explore this convenient and practical resource. The portal can be accessed from PCs, tablets, smartphones, Amazon's Alexa, and more, utilizing common tools such as browsers, dictations, and readers. We also focus on leisure activities specially designed for blinded youth, such as audiobooks and storytelling, braille games and puzzles, hobbies and activities such as sculpting, pottery, painting, photography, knitting, and so much more. Music and singing, accessible sports such as beep baseball, goalball, blind soccer, skiing, running, and more. We sponsor certain outdoor activities such as hiking, fishing, and nature walks to nourish their mental growth and help them recognize their special skills. Our site is designed to make a profound impact in the lives of visually impaired children and teenagers. Share these resources with others. Connect with us on social media or on other podcasts. Email us at info@w4tb.org or visit us on our website, w4by.org. Wisdom for Blinded Youth.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Hot News with Kat and Sue. I am pleased to have Leslie Hoskins, the Outreach Services and Community Engagement Manager from Leader Dogs for the Blind, joining us today.
Welcome to the show, Leslie. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. My name's Leslie Hoskins. I am a certified orientation and mobility specialist, as well as the Outreach Services and Community Engagement Manager, like you mentioned. I work at Leader Dogs for the Blind. I live in Michigan, where it's nice and cold today. I'm a mom. I've got 2 kids, and I've been married for 10 years this year.
So can you tell us a little bit about what college you went to in your education?
Absolutely, yeah. I went to Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and that is where I got my Master's of Arts in Orientation and Mobility in the blindness and low vision field. So I got my master's program basically so that I can teach people who are blind or visually impaired how to travel safely with the long white cane.
Before we move on, can I ask, is it okay for us to call you Leslie?
Absolutely.
All right, I think we're going to start talking about guide dogs now. So what made you first interested in guide dogs?
So I started out as an orientation and mobility specialist. And so I was at school getting my master's at Western. And I had the opportunity to go to Leader Dogs for the Blind for a week experience, an educational experience, to work with a client for the first time. And so I came to Leader Dog and I got to spend the week and I stayed there every night and really be around clients and the guide dogs. And I kind of just fell in love with it. I loved the mission. I loved what they were doing. And so I was super excited to be there. And I was fortunate enough to then come back for my internship and then get a full-time position there. So I'm super happy and lucky to be around all the guide dogs all the time and see the incredible work that they do.
Leslie, do you have a guide dog?
I don't. I am sighted, and so I do not have a guide dog.
What's your favorite dog?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough question. So we have Labradors, Golden Retrievers, and German Shepherds, and then we kind of have mixes of those as well. So we breed Labradors and Golden Retrievers together and so on. I don't know that I have a favorite dog. We have some canine ambassadors that I get to spend a lot of time with, and there's a chocolate lab that has really kind of stolen my heart.
That chocolate lab sounds adorable. So, what's your client's favorite part about having a guide dog?
I think they like the independence it gives them. So a guide dog really helps them guide around obstacles easily. It helps them stop at curbs. It also is just a wonderful companion. So while the guide dog, has a lot of responsibilities guiding and keeping our clients safe, it's also just nice to have somebody with you all the time when you go shopping or go to the store and just being at home. So I think that's probably what they like best.
How do you come up with the names for the guide dogs?
That's a great question too. So we actually have the puppy raisers name the guide dogs. So our puppies, the first year of their life, they spend with volunteers who are puppy raisers. And the puppy raiser has the honor of naming the guide dog.
And how do you match them with the client?
So our guide dog mobility instructors are the experts in that area. And what they do is when we have an application come in from a client, we ask for a bunch of information about like their daily routine, the environment they travel in. We also ask for a video of them traveling. And so then our guide dog mobility instructors take all of that information, as much as they can possibly learn about the applicant, and then they learn as much as they can about the dogs that they're training and try to find the perfect match. They want to make sure that they both walk the same pace, that they're both comfortable traveling in the same environments, and sometimes even have kind of similar personalities. So, if somebody's super outgoing, they'd probably want a little bit more of an outgoing and energetic dog versus maybe somebody who's a little bit more reserved, probably wants like a little bit of a calmer dog. So they take a lot into consideration when making that perfect match.
Wow, the instructors have a really big responsibility. So how do you know someone needs a guide dog?
So that's really a personal choice. Anybody who's legally blind technically qualifies for a guide dog. And so then they can decide if that's something they're interested in. There's a lot to consider when you're thinking about using either a cane as a mobility device or a guide dog. And so they really have to think about, the lifestyle impact and how that's going to play a role into their life. Because really, a cane you can put in the corner and you can use it every now and then. And a guide dog's another living thing. So sometimes we refer to it as having a baby. You got to take care of something. You got to take it out, feed it, water it. And so then it's really the client's decision if that's something they want. And then we also have to look at the skills required in order to be accepted and successful for a guide dog. Anybody who's applying for a guide dog has to have good independent cane travel skills and good orientation and mobility.
Leslie, is there an age limit for getting a guide dog?
So at Leader Dog specifically, you have to be at least 16 years old in order to get a guide dog. And then we actually serve clients all the way up into their 80s and 90s even. So anywhere between 16 and all the way to whatever, I guess you'd say.
That's very nice. So how are the guide dog rated?
Well, there's kind of a whole process to a dog becoming a guide dog. We're really fortunate that we have our own breeding department. So they breed the dogs, and the mom and dad dogs live with volunteers in their homes. And then once the puppies are born and they're about 7 or 8 weeks old, they come back into Leader Dog, and then they're sent out with a puppy raiser. So kind of the first year of the dog's lives are spent with volunteers in their homes with the puppy raisers. And the puppy raisers are responsible for teaching them house manners, basic obedience, and really exposing them to lots of different environments. So taking them to restaurants and malls and on planes and trains and automobiles and making sure they're comfortable in all of those environments. Around their first birthday, they come back into Leader Dog, and there they start working with our guide dog mobility instructors. And the guide dog mobility instructors spend 4 months with the dogs doing their formal training. So they're working on starting to identify curbs, they're putting the harness on, they're guiding around obstacles, making sure that these dogs get ready to work with somebody who's blind or visually impaired. And then they work with the clients when they come in to get their guide dog. They spend about a month together as well. So it's usually dogs when they're issued to clients are anywhere between, like 14 months of age and 18 months, I would say. So it's a long process.
Nice. So what's your favorite part about working with the guide dogs and the clients?
I love working with clients and guide dogs. I don't get to work with guide dogs too often because I'm not a guide dog mobility instructor, but I will say I love having them around. It's really nice that there are dogs kind of everywhere. And so there's always somebody to say hi to and pet if you need a dog snuggle. But a lot of times too, the dogs are working. And so sometimes that's even the hardest part of the job is ignoring the dogs and pretending like they're not there. But my favorite part of working there is just seeing people reach their independence, whether that be with a long cane or a white guide dog, or with a long cane or a guide dog, just reaching their goals and empowering them to be independent travelers.
So since you brought up some rules about guide dogs, can you talk about some do's and don'ts, please?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things is just kind of ignoring the dogs when they're there or around. So if you go someplace like a restaurant and there's a guide dog there, the best thing that you can do is just completely pretend like it's not there. It's really important that the guide dog stays focused on their handler, their person that they're traveling with, and don't get distracted by anybody else. So you don't want to feed a guide dog. You don't want to call a guide dog by its name. You don't want to touch a dog. And you always want to ask the person first. So if you really, really want to pet the dog and maybe it seems like a good opportunity, you can always ask the handler and say, hi, could I say hello to your dog? They may say yes if they take the harness off and have the dog sit, or they may say no, now's not a good time, we're working. But really the best thing you can do is kind of just ignore them. I know that's really hard to do, but ignore them and then always talk to the handler and ask any questions or for permission to do anything before doing so.
Nice. So is there anything else you want to talk about, including guide dogs or the clients you work with?
I don't think so. I think, it's a really, really nice program. We offer guide dog mobility instruction in a couple of different ways. Sometimes people come to campus. Sometimes we take guide dogs to people's homes. It's very individualized and it's really cool to see it when it's working.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break. Stay with us because after the break, we're going to be talking about a wonderful camp opportunity that you can go to.
Hi, I'm Christina Hepner.
And I'm Leslie Hoskins, and we're hosts of the Taking the Lead podcast from Leader Dogs for the Blind.
Our podcast provides insight into the blindness community and impactful stories from our clients.
At Leader Dog, we continue to be the answer for thousands who need our free services. These include guide dog training, white cane training, and more. Once clients complete training, they're reintroduced to a life of safety and independence.
Learn more at leaderdog.org.
You're listening to Wisdom for the Blind Radio, W4TV, from the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the home of the Wisdom for Blinded Kids portal. Please enjoy the show and don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. I understand you have a special program for kids. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
We do. We have a teen summer camp, and it's for 16 and 17-year-olds throughout the U.S. and Canada who are legally blind. And they come and stay on campus. Everything's completely free, just like all of our programs. We pick them up at the airport. We pay for the airfare. They stay on campus in like a hotel-like setting. And we talk about so many things. We talk about leadership skills. We talk about mobility options, such as a cane or guide dog. We talk about accessible GPS. And really the best part is we just provide an opportunity for teens to meet other teens like themselves. So they get to build relationships and friendships with other kids who are going through the same things so that they can share experiences and make connections and hopefully stay friends for a lifetime.
That sounds super fun. So what are some activities you're able to do at the camp?
Yeah, we do a lot of really fun stuff. So we've gone rock wall climbing, zip lining, we played beep kickball, we've done tandem bike riding. The teens also get to try out a guide dog for a whole day. So they're actually kind of issued their own guide dog and they get to spend the full day with it to really understand, how it works, right? They have to feed and water and park the dog. So they have to clean up after it. They have to have a meal with the dog, just so that they can understand realistically what it's like to have a guide dog. There's a lot of perks, but there's also a lot of responsibility that comes with it. So we do a lot of really fun things. And this last year they had a zombie apocalypse. And so there were zombies and GPS, and it was a whole kind of scavenger hunt, if you will. A really great week. Each year it's a little bit different. And so we try to get creative and keep it fun for everybody.
That's really cool. Can you please repeat the dates and the age requirement?
Yes. So the camp is for 16 and 17-year-olds. You have to be 16 or 17 during the week of camp because it's a state licensed camp. So we're held to that. But this year's camp dates are June 25th through July 1st. And the camp application deadline is March 31st.
So how do you register for the camp?
You can simply go to our website at leaderdog.org and select the Teen Summer Camp button. And then it'll give you a link to apply.
What is the cost? And when you go to the camp, what is included with the camp?
Yeah, that's a great question too. The cost is nothing. So all of our programs at Leader Dog are completely free. That includes the airfare to and from Michigan. That includes we pick you up at the airport, bring you to our campus. All of the meals are provided. Staying on campus is completely free. Everything's covered by Leader Dog. And then camp is super cool and super special because our campers also go home with a lot of cool stuff. So usually they get a backpack and a water bottle and several shirts. They also usually get a free Victor Reader Trek by HumanWare, which is an accessible GPS device. This last year, all of our campers went home with bone conducting headphones as well. So definitely a lot of things going home with the campers.
The food? What kind of food?
Oh, the food is delicious. Lots of kid-friendly foods, I will say. A lot of chicken tenders and tacos and things like that. But our kitchen does an amazing job of making, diet-appropriate food. So for anybody who has dietary restrictions or food allergies and things like that. But one of my personal favorite items is the Mile High Taco Pie. It's like lasagna, but taco items. So the meat and cheese and tortilla and sour cream, it is delightful.
I mean, I can say I do love my chicken nuggets.
That makes me hungry.
So Leslie, is there anything else you would like to say about the camp?
I don't think so. You guys had some really good questions. I would just say it's a lot of fun. I'm usually exhausted by the end of the week, but it is by far one of my favorite weeks out of the year.
Leslie, do you have any advice for the kids?
My advice would be, if you're nervous or you're not sure if you're going to like it, to please give it a try because it is so much fun and it's just a great way to meet other campers and kids going through the same thing. I recently ran into a camper who came in 2017 and he said to me, he was like, that was the best week of my life. I had so much fun. I still talk to, and he rattled off about 5 different camper names. And he was just absolutely delighted to share about his experience. So take the leap. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking, but everybody's in it together and we're happy to answer any questions that anybody would have.
Well, thank you, Leslie, for joining us. You're welcome anytime to the studio. And me and Sue really appreciate for giving up your time just to answer some questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, Leslie was great. Do you think your favorite part of what she was talking about was?
Probably the part with the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I'd probably really want to go to that camp.
Me too.
But I'm only 11, so I can't really do that.
Me too. No, I'm 10.
Okay, well, we're going to go back to the studio with Bobby and check up in some more news.
Do you enjoy a good time with your fellow brothers and sisters? Do you enjoy the fresh sea breeze? Do you enjoy deep sea fishing? Then Wisdom for the Blind has something just for you. On May 5th, 2023, Wisdom for the Blind has chartered the Double Eagle 3 in Clearwater Beach, Florida for an entire day of fun in the sun and deep sea fishing. Go to w4tv.org and register for this upcoming event. Check out our website and register now. Seats are limited. Please share the wisdom and tell a friend.
Do you like meeting new friends? Do you want to talk about the things you love with people who understand? Then come join us at the Wisdom Tree House presented by Wisdom for Blinded Youth. The Wisdom Tree House is a super fun monthly event on Zoom. where we'll gather and interact with each other in a safe and inclusive space. We'll talk about our favorite books, places we've traveled, hobbies we enjoy, and more. Plus we get to meet other children who are blind and visually impaired. Join us at the Wisdom Treehouse, presented by Wisdom for Blinded Youth on the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit the Wisdom for Blinded Youth portal at w4by.org.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Thank you, Kat and Sue, and to all our listeners. Thanks for dropping in today for the 5-minute news flash, where we bring you up-to-date knowledge of hot topics. Now to our first story. The Yukon Huskies men's basketball team won their 5th NCAA title. Yukon's 76-59 victory over San Diego State ended a dominant tournament run in which they won every game by double figures. Yukon coach Dan Hurley said on the court after the game, "We knew we were the best team in the tournament going in, and we just had to play like it." In women's college basketball, the Louisiana State University Tigers won their first championship in program history. The Tigers outlasted number 2 Iowa to win 102-85. LSU coach Kim Mulkey said, "It's emotional, and I am so happy. I really don't know how to explain it, just a deep gratitude and happiness." Also in sports, Major League Baseball's competition committee voted to implement new rules last September. These rules have been in place in the minor leagues over the previous seasons, leading to wide-ranging changes in pace of play and action. They include a first-ever pitch clock, bigger bases, and a limit to how many times a pitcher can disengage from the rubber. Baseball season has begun and it's time to see these new rules when it counts. Next, NASA and the Canadian Space Agency announced the 4 astronauts who will venture around the Moon on Artemis II. The crew assignments are Commander Reed Wiseman, Pilot Victor Glover, Mission Specialist 1 Christina Hammock-Koch, and Mission Specialist 2 Jeremy Hansen. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said, "Each has their own story. But together, they represent our creed, e pluribus unum. Out of many, one. Together, we are ushering in a new era of exploration for a new generation of star sailors and dreamers. The Artemis generation." Among the crew are the first woman, first person of color, and first Canadian on a lunar mission. That's all for today's news. This has been Bobby from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios. Back to you, Kat and Sue.
Are you a family member or caregiver of someone who is blind or visually impaired? Do you struggle with finding answers and support in times of difficulty? If so, Wisdom for the Blind is here to help. Wisdom for the Blind is a dynamic nonprofit organization dedicated to helping blind and visually impaired individuals. Wisdom for the Blind is proud to present Path to Wisdom, a monthly virtual support group that can help you find the answers you need. Path to Wisdom brings together family members and caregivers of people who are blind or visually impaired. You'll have the opportunity to connect with others, and share your experiences. Join us for Path to Wisdom on the 4th Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit our website at w4tb.org.
You're listening to Wisdom for the Blind Radio, W4TV, from the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the home of the Wisdom for Blinded Kids portal. Please enjoy the show, and don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend.
I want to thank Bobby one more time for that wonderful news. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone at Wisdom for the Blind for putting this podcast together and making it happen. And I want to thank the team from Wisdom for the Blind.
Well, thank you for joining our first episode. Join us next time in a month, and we hope you can tune in. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for hanging out on our Hot News with Kat and Sue podcast. We're pretty sure you learned something new, but most of all, we hope you found a few helpful tips as a blind or low vision young person. We also want to thank Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and our incredible producer, Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International. And with just a click, you can like this episode, share with a friend, and subscribe. But if you need more info, go to w4tb.org or email us at info@w4tb.org. So join us next time on Hot News with Kat and Sue.
Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's4tb.org, and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marina Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind.